Hey, Mike,
Hey,
good
Jake.
morning.
Good
Guess
morning.
what? It's Friday. It's not Thursday. We usually do this on Thursday.
Yeah, and we didn't do it last week. And Friday is Jam Day. It's a good day all around. Happy to talk to you. We got to
Hey,
get caught
so
up.
we got to get caught up. So this funny thing happened, which is I saw actually for the first time I met a member of our staff who we hired during the pandemic, and he's taller than I thought. And he said he's like, "Oh yeah, Jake, I know what's going on in your life." Because I watch LinkedIn Live. So, yeah, so I was off because my grandmother died. She was 103, and one
Wow.
of the great things about death is it brings the living together. And so I got to spend time on Zoom with family, and it was really cool. But that's why I was off. And then people have been trying to cheer me up since I got back. Any death carries a whole baggage of stuff.
Yeah.
One of my friends just sent me the Jewish Space Laser Corps pin.
Oh, you remember now.
Yeah, so if anybody needs a space laser directed at anything, you let me know.
Careful aiming at the forest, though, because that can start fires, and California's in bad enough shape already.
Yeah, anyway, so I had to skip out unexpectedly. And so I said, do you want to do this without me? And you said no.
No, I can't do this without you. I know nothing about this technology of which you speak. But hey, before we get going, we have some other stuff coming up that we need to talk about. And I should probably report out that yesterday was the third annual Pisces Academic Workshop, which was really good. We had intro remarks from the head of the DHS CISA Cyber Defense Education Division and Washington State CISO. So about 15 interested schools attended, and as well as the 6 that are already on board. So that was great.
Well, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you didn't answer any of my emails yesterday. So that
no,
project,
I just did that on purpose.
Oh, thanks a lot. I'm going to hit you with a space laser next time. So that project's taking off. I think you've cracked the code on making new cyber analysts while providing protection to cities and counties and defending them. I think that's just so cool, Mike. You've done something really, really cool. And yep, we have events coming up. One on budgeting for security and local government, one on avoiding 3 specific types of events in the health sector, one on how to manage third-party risk in healthcare. And I should point out, Fred Langston wrote an awesome piece on vulnerability management that was published in Dark Reading. It's really good. Mike.
Yes, Fred's piece talks about how it's the button. Treat newly announced vulnerabilities of a certain severity the same way we treat an incident. It makes a lot of sense, mainly to prevent having to respond to the actual incident that will follow if you don't get after it. So, for example, if you have something that's a CVSS score of 9.8, right, and you have that product facing the internet, you should scramble a team and put together the project to get the upgrade done right now. Exploits are coming faster and faster, and there's a couple examples of that I have at the top of my head we can talk about.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's really good. It's fun. So one thing that I'd love to know from people. So, I mean, this is really about patching, right? And one of the funny things that happened over the last week is, should our swag, we need to create some new swag because we haven't had a place to hand it out for a long time. Should we create patches? Like, patches you can put on clothing because patches, or is that too silly? Anyway, put it in the comments. I'd love to know what you think, or email me at jake@ci.security. And I might just do it anyway. And if you email me, then I'm just going to send you a patch.
I want a patch.
So you don't get a patch. Everybody else gets a patch. All right, we have a lot of other stuff to catch up on. Most of what I remember reading over the last 2 weeks in the blast looks like a lot of vulnerabilities that came up to the point you just made, right?
Yeah. So if I could describe today's LinkedIn Live, it would be the Everything is Vulnerable and Being Exploited by Nation States edition. It was reported that nation state attacks have doubled in the last 3 years. And it feels like they doubled again over the last 6 months. First, to your point, there are a lot of products that need to be patched. And well, if you have these products and you haven't patched yet, it may be too late. So I'm sure most people are aware of these, but let's just go through a list. SonicWall, and remember SonicWall was hit with ransomware a few weeks back, has 3 0 days. Actually, I think there's patches now that are actively exploited. SAP, the enterprise resource planning platform used by lots and lots and lots of organizations, had vulnerabilities announced that were weaponized and exploited in record time. Cleanup now underway. The Russian equivalent of the CIA, what do they call it? The SRV, is targeting and exploiting vulnerabilities in 5 products. And again, some of these vulnerabilities go back to 2018. And that's kind of the awful message that's emerging now is some of the stuff that's, gangs are running roughshod over should have been patched years ago. And I just tell you how bad we are at this. So the products right now are the FortiGate VPN. There's a Zimbra collaboration suite. Pulse Secure, that VPN is that's been in the news a lot. That one's really getting pillaged, and that's 2019. That is a patch that should have been applied in 2019. The Citrix application delivery controller and VMware Workspace ONE, all those right now being actively exploited. And just to top that, there are remote code execution bugs that have been reported in something called the Ethernet IP stack for industrial systems. So the manufacturing sector really needs to get on top of this now. This one is rated 9.8 out of 10 in severity, and all you need to do is send specially crafted packets to take over a device. So heads up.
And is it one of those vulnerabilities that caused you to talk while you were on mute before?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. No, it was the sneeze right before that. And so you should be thanking me for muting when I sneezed.
Everybody, let's thank Mike for
marketing
talking.
guy.
Yeah. So
optics,
but
man.
seriously, like that's a lot of attack surface you just went through.
Yeah. And that's not even a big one. There was another supply chain attack, this time against a product called CodeCove. And this is an online software testing firm used by 29,000 companies. The perps were able to get to CodeCove's credentials from a flawed Docker container, is the way it's written up, modified a bash script used for uploading, and replaced the Cove code IP address with the perps address. So that every time somebody used that script to upload, the perps were collecting authentication credentials, and they think something like 100 networks have been compromised. Customer finally looked at the bash script and compared the hash to the published hash and said, hey, this is different. What's going on? And started asking questions. Here we are. So this apparently was undetected for a couple of months, and it's unclear what the extent of this is. And the federal government is now investigating. So that's huge.
That is huge. But it seemed, but by the way, and yeah, I mean, that's big. It's a lot like the SolarWinds attack. Code was compromised and then distributed to customers, which are now at risk.
Right, exactly. And you have to wonder, is this criminals, is this nation state, both? There's more open reporting that's speculating on the nature of that relationship between Russian intelligence and crime. And there is pretty open cross-pollination between the two. They trade tools, TTPs, etc. So we should probably do something about that.
Well, but we just did, right? Didn't we just sanction Russia over SolarWinds? I mean, Biden talked about it. What is that? There's an interesting article I read, which is it used to be accepted tradecraft that, you didn't, that, hacking each other was just part of what happened. But that seems to have changed. So, what do the sanctions mean? What's left to impose on Russia? And the director of national intelligence said something about Russia, didn't she?
Yes. The DNI, Avril Haines, did the national intelligence assessment, and the unclassified part of it names Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea as their biggest adversaries, and calls cyber the common weapon between them. Okay, that's not really a surprise. On the sanctions, what we do is we identify individuals and limit their ability to travel and use international banking. Now, that probably hurts a little, but I always wonder what limiting travel really means. If we catch one of these named individuals at an airport in Belgium, do we arrest and extradite, or do we snatch, also known as extraordinary rendition? I wonder.
You mean you keep saying that's what we should do to cyber criminals?
That is what we should do to cyber criminals, but the federal government doesn't listen to me. So sanctioning Russia in this way, to your previous point, upends the whole everyone does espionage, so we look the other way attitude that's prevailed for a long time. And this may come back to bite us. Remember, we do espionage too. And, if we start getting sanctions applied, in a kind of tit for tat thing because, we're trying to find out what their policy positions are going to be on Ukraine, for example, it may bite us. Anyway, part of the cost imposed was to identify a number of crypto addresses, right? Cryptocurrency addresses that are also banned. This may have the effect of disrupting some criminal operations because, the intelligence and the criminals are kind of cross-pollinating. But here's the hook there. If they're used for ransomware payments for your company, you may be in big trouble if you engage one of these addresses to pay an extortion demand. They've already put out guidance about this, about how you are not allowed to do business in certain countries. Well, now these are banned crypto addresses, regardless of whatever country they're operating in. So I think business has to be careful, after they get cybered.
I'm sorry, I laugh every time you say cybered. Unintended cyber consequences, right?
Yes, exactly. Speaking of which, unintended cyber consequences, I neglected to mention that what the FBI's been up to. The Bureau has been hacking hundreds of computers to protect them from the Hafnium Exchange server debacle and using the perp's own tools to do it, which is timely because there's also a botnet out there going after the same servers, Prometheus or something like that. There are a lot of organizations, apparently, that do not get the memo on urgent patching or apparently patching at all. So, and I got to be honest, the FBI using criminal tools to perform cleanup for businesses was not on my cyber bingo card.
Maybe if you shared that cyber bingo card, we should, maybe that's a thing we should do.
Should I throw it in the chat?
Sure. Hey, we didn't even talk about this before. This just came into my email as we're doing this, but one of our contractors just sent me an important security bulletin. They use Park Mobile to, it's a parking app where you pay for parking in various cities. In Seattle, we use Pay by Phone. This one's called Park Mobile. They're emailing everybody to say, in March, Park Mobile became aware of a cybersecurity incident linked to a vulnerability in third-party software which we use.
Yep.
Which one do you think it was? Third-party software from parking.
Accellion.
Think Accellion? Yeah. First, that seems right.
Is this Philadelphia? Is this where this happened? I think it's 20 million disclosed records.
I don't know. The company Park Mobile is based in Atlanta, but they probably do parking all over, all over the place. So I don't know. Who knows? All right. Well, we don't have so much time left, so we're going to have to skip over all of the other things in the blast, like private sector fines, new regulations. We'll get to that next week. Yeah. Do you have a kicker? Something that will make everybody smile?
It'll make some people smile. It will make some people frown, I'm sure. But that's just, kind of the way it is with this kind of news. The kicker this week has to be Moxie Marlinspike, the creator of Signal, who just became a hacking legend. So the backstory on this is this. Cellebrite is a company that makes products for hacking phones, and it's used extensively by law enforcement. When he found out that Cellebrite was going after Signal's encrypted messages, he did some hacking of his own, and he found out that Cellebrite products are not very secure. And he claims that a uniquely configured file could be slipped into any app on a device that may be targeted. So when it's evaluated or analyzed by Cellebrite products, it would alter all of the data that has been or will be collected by Cellebrite software. And that is a nice poke in the eye. Well done, Moxie Marlinspike.
Yeah, you know what? That was pretty good. That's the first time at the end of this. Ever. What was the other funny one? The belt. The
chastity belt.
Yeah. That's the first one that's made me smile since the chastity belt, and that was a long time ago.
There was also a funny quote from the FTC this morning that I heard. I was listening to NPR on the way into work, and they were talking about all of the the AI algorithms that are now proliferating everywhere. And the Federal Trade Commission said this, and I quote, "Police your AI algorithms or we will." I mean, it's like, that's not even an implied threat. That's a threat.
It is. And somehow makes me think of Terminator. All right. Well, Mike, thank you. We will be back next week,
Yes.
back on regular Thursday. So because it's Friday, have an awesome Friday. I'm just absolutely thrilled that it's been a sunny work week, and then it'll be a rainy weekend here in the Pacific Northwest.
Isn't that fabulous? That's just the way we roll.
It's the way we roll. We just had full spring, or is it full summer? I don't know. It's one of those. Anyway,
I call it head fake summer.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
All right. Bye.